Okay, so this site is called Take What Rings True. And the whole idea is I'm going to say stuff and you can believe it or not. So today I want to talk about truth and being right. So I don't know about you, but I found that a lot lately are stuck in their truth, which is good, claiming your own truth. But sometimes people are not willing to listen to another point of view. So let's explore this a little bit. Um, Truth. We all have our own beliefs. We all have our own truth. And sometimes it's universal truth, and sometimes it's not. You know, when you go to the grocery store checkout area, and there's these magazines and newspapers with articles on them that you go, I'm not so sure. Because they can be exaggerated or sensationalized articles or news. And often they lead with things that are shocking, scare tactics, and then sometimes slanderous. So celebrities may sue some magazine or some newspaper because they're telling things that aren't true, making stuff up. So people will buy the magazine or the newspaper. Now, when we see things with our own eyes, we tend to believe it. So my favorite picture on a magazine, I think it was the Inquirer, maybe that's a newspaper. Anyway, the Inquirer, which one of the little kids called the Acquirer. My favorite thing was a woman gives birth to half man, half monster. And then there's a picture of a half man, half monster. It's like, really? This is not true. But it may sell newspapers or magazines. You know, the ads you get that pop up on your computer or in your email where celebrities say Dr. Oz is backing a product, but actually he's never seen it before and they're lying. He does not back the product. He may not even have ever heard of it. The other day, not the other day, it was in May, I was caught up in Oprah interviewing a doctor who was explaining this product that was better or the same as an expensive product. Well, come to find out, it was all AI. It wasn't even real. It was somebody using Oprah's voice and somebody using Oprah's image and creating a movie to sell stuff. So we can't always believe what we see anymore. Sometimes the truth is misinterpreted. I was teaching a class. I've told this story before. I was teaching a class and someone asked why one of my colleagues was no longer with the organization. And I had not worked in that section or that session to teach that class. But I said that the person who was in charge of the instructor at that point in time was not, that's wrong. Let's back this up. I told them that the reason he was not there, I believed anymore, he was not working with me, was because he had not been paid for the last session he had done. Well, at the break, some of the class members discussed what I'd said and assumed that I was blaming the previous instructor for not paying my colleague. And that's not what I said. I said that he hadn't been paid, but I didn't say who didn't pay him. Well, it was the big boss that had not paid him. So when the instructor, the previous instructor, was told that I said that this person had not been paid and that she had not paid him, why hadn't she paid him? Well, she was a very close friend of mine. And all of a sudden I was ghosted. She unfriended me from Facebook. She unfriended me from Instagram. She didn't talk to me for over 3 years. All because she assumed what the student told her was the truth. You know, there's a saying, assume is make an ass out of you and me. If you spell the word, it's ASSUME. Another friend of mine was just kicked out of her church because she said that she could not do a talk. And another colleague, another person in the church said that, well, she told the person who was in charge of the church that it's because she was afraid of her. She was, uncomfortable with her. So they went to the head of the church, went to the board, and they excommunicated her from the church. Did they bother to talk to her? She's a grandmother and she needed to take care of her grandkids because her daughter was unable to do that. And she was overwhelmed. So she didn't feel that she could do justice to a talk and be prepared. So did they ask her? No, they just excommunicated her from the whole church. So as we travel through our journey of life, we only know one small speck of the life. So the big picture is much bigger than we think. So one of my mentors, Francine, described everything that's possible, all things that are knowledge, as a gigantic painting. And that she's a spirit guide, only knew one tiny speck of that painting. So her truth is that one tiny speck. She said she has not even scratched the surface of this gigantic painting, which is all knowledge and truth. So if we think of the creator and having all this knowledge and all this truth, if we only have a little tiny speck of it, we may not know the whole big picture. So one of my favorite stories is an example. So there were 6 brothers who were all blind, and they'd heard about an elephant, but they'd never seen one, felt one, been experienced being next to one. So the 6 Chinese brothers were taken to see or to feel or sense an elephant. And the brothers had heard many tales about this amazing animal. And they spent hours arguing about what the elephant must be like. So when the friend arranged for them to visit an elephant, they could learn firsthand. So they each approached the elephant. The first brother touched the animal's huge side and decided an elephant was like a large wall. The second brother touched the flexible trunk of the elephant and decided an elephant is surely like a large snake. The third brother touched the elephant's tusk and decided an elephant is surely like a sharp spear. Another brother touched the elephant, and he touched the elephant's ear and decided the elephant must be like a giant fan. The sixth brother touched the elephant's tail and decided that it must be like a rope. So when the brothers all gathered to rest, they each argued their perception was the truth. No, I touched the elephant and this is what it's like. Each brother did have a little bit of the truth, but not the whole truth. So we often judge people by what they tell us and what we believe. And we compare and go, well, that's not right. Because I know I touched the elephant's side or I touched the elephant. And this is my belief. This is my truth. But we're not, as a society, we're not allowing people to have a different point of view. You know, the famous poster of you stand on one side of the room, your friend stands on the other side of the room. In front of you is a giant 6. Well, they're on the other side of the room. And when they look at it, it looks like a 9 because a 6 turned upside down is a 9. So their truth is it's a 9. Your truth is it's a 6. You are both right. And I think we need to take a step back these days And when someone says something, we need to give them a little bit of grace. Now, we may still decide they're crazy. They do not know what's going on. You have the truth and you truly believe it. I know I have a family member that politically I totally disagree with. They can watch something and I know this is fake news that they're reporting to me. Or you go to Facebook and there's some article or some post that says, Facebook is going to steal all your pictures unless you send them this notification saying, I refuse to allow you to use my pictures, whatever it is. And that's not true. Somebody made that up. That's not a true statement. That is not true. Or they'll say, the New York Times said, or CBS News said, and they may even have an elaborate picture of, commentators on CBS News and show a little poster. Well, that's graphic artists. It may not be true. And it's just, I think, horrendous right now because people can use your image, create you, and then have you do whatever they want you to do. Say whatever they want you to say. And it's not true. So it's even worse than it was before AI. People would still use yellow journalism and make stuff up or exaggerate or go beyond what's the truth. But I believe, only our Creator knows everything. We know small bits and we can believe what we believe and do stand in your truth. You have a truth, but that doesn't mean someone else doesn't have a truth that's also true. So I know that my political relative, I rarely believe anything they say. And often when I go online and check out, is this a fact? Is this a scam? Blah, blah, blah. They've been caught up in some story that's not true. But I probably do the same thing. I probably believe stuff I've seen, but it's not true. Or believe things I've heard, and it's not true. Just like I believe the video of Oprah interviewing this doctor and talking about the ingredients in this product. And it wasn't true. But because people know who Oprah is, then I believed that. But when checking upon it later, it's like, nope, it was AI, it's fake. So my suggestion is take a breath. When someone says something to you, agree to disagree if you need to. And, let them have some grace and have their opinion. And that doesn't mean that because I disagree with you or you disagree with me, that I have to say that you are a horrible person. You're always going to be a horrible person, and I'm going to never be your friend. Because maybe it's a misunderstanding, like my friend, the instructor, who just decided to believe what my student said, even though she exaggerated and went beyond what I really said. So this is just something for you to consider. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to put a link up for the story of the 6 blind brothers. So if you want to look at it, you can read my blog on that story. I just think we all need to give each other a bit of grace so we can all get through this life a bit easier. That does not mean I don't want you to stand up for your truth. If you want to write an article, you want to disagree with someone, you want to protest, then do that. Stand up for what you believe. But also remember, sometimes we only have a little speck of the truth. And the other person may have truth also. So thank you for joining me. And I hope to see you next Wednesday. Bye. wonder if that went off. Okay, here we go.